Welcome back, everybody. Before we get started today, we've got a couple of housekeeping items for you. I guess the biggest one is that we just did a 2-day live event over this past weekend, all about numbers, all about estimating, and it was amazing.
It was awesome. It was a lot of information came out of it, but it was. I'm still kind of like decompressing from everything right now today.
We literally, yeah.
It's Monday.
It's Monday, and so it was this past weekend.
Yeah.
So our brains are still like.
Yeah, I think that's the most talking I've ever done, like straight ever.
Probably. You're not generally chatty, so
No.
that was a lot of talking. But so many great things came out of it, and the good news for you guys is that we're going to make that available as a standalone course.
Mhm.
So if you don't want to join the $1 Million Academy, you can purchase the recording of the weekend along with all of the spreadsheets that go with it and any additional courses that are supplementary material that go with it. Like everything that everybody got who attended live, you can get.
Yep.
It's just not live. You're just listening to the recordings instead of it live. So that is going to be available on our website starting November 7th.
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
So Monday, November 7th, you can hop on our website and get that. So if you want to get your numbers straight, you're like, oh, dang, wish I could have attended the event. No worries. We've got you covered. It's on our website. You can grab it from there.
Yep. It's definitely worth your time and energy doing it.
Everybody was amazed. We're going to talk a little bit more about it later, but
Yeah, if you're just like Katie said, if you want to learn your numbers and get your numbers dialed in for next season or the rest of the season, then go ahead and check it out. Dog is bumping into things here.
he's always hitting something. Okay, what was our another announcement? The other announcement is that November 16th,
Yep.
Inside the Academy, we are going to be doing kind of a course that's a little bit of a follow-up to knowing your numbers, and that is job costing. So you do have to be an Academy member to hop in on that. But if you were ever curious about job costing, what it is, why it is so important, and how you kind of don't know if you did okay on jobs or not. If you're not doing job costing, you really don't know if you made money on a job or not. So
Yeah, so we're gonna dive into that. Academy members get all those calculators and stuff that go along with it. So
Yeah.
we make it super simple in there, and it's gonna be another great event. It's not gonna be a 2 days event. It's just gonna be
no, this is that's a
just-
Wednesday, I
Yep,
think. So
yep.
this will just be in the evening because we try to do training. We're going to try and start doing trainings like this, especially during the off kind of season, once a month, just to make sure everybody is getting the most value that they can out of the Academy, because we do have so much stuff in there that it can get overwhelming if you don't know where to start or what to look at. So we're going to be guiding people through everything that we've got in there, at least for the next couple months during the winter, just to make sure everybody is getting the most out of it that they can. So if you need to, not if you need to do job costing, you do need to be doing job
Absolutely.
costing. And if you are not, and you don't know what it is or how to do it or where to even start, hop in on, join the Academy before November 16th, and you can hop in on that training.
Yep.
All right, nothing else? Quick word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about how awesome our course went this weekend and about how people are still just shocked about some of these numbers. Like, it is still shocking to people. Even after listening to all our podcast episodes and stuff, people are still like, I just didn't really realize. So we'll be right back to talk about that.
This podcast is brought to you by Busy Busy. Busy Busy is so simple to use, and it's the most reliable GPS time tracking app on the market. And the best part is, it was built for landscapers. Busy Busy's founder created Busy Busy because he owned multiple construction companies and needed to understand better which projects were making him money and which projects were killing him. Payroll is the highest variable cost in the project, so you better be tracking it. Busy Busy does this better than anyone else. So download Busy Busy today, and don't forget to mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast to get 3 free months.
We want to take a quick second to tell you about our friends over at Cycle CPA. I can't even express to you how important it is to have a good accountant on your side. You know you want accurate bookkeeping and financial statements every month. Instead, you're often left with limited time to focus on the accounting side of your business and no reports to show for it. At Cycle CPA, the landscaping accountants, they not only handle the bookkeeping, but also provide landscape industry benchmarking, job costing, financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA has a team of landscaping accountants available to provide anything from bookkeeping to CFO services. Visit cyclecpa.com, and for $100 off, mention the $1 Million Landscaper podcast. If you want to get the leads you want and turn your current clients into raving fans, then you need to try Send Gym. They've created an exclusive offer just for our listeners. If you sign up today, you can get your first month for just $2. So if you haven't already, go to sendgym.io/MDL, where you can get even more exclusive deals just for $1 Million Landscaper podcast listeners. That's sendgym.io/MDL and take advantage of these awesome deals today.
Welcome back, everybody. Like we said in the intro there, we just got done fresh off a 2-day event, live training. Our brains are still kind of wrapping our minds around it. Well, we're both introverts, and so that was just, it was a lot. Even though Scott did most of the talking, I was kind of behind the scenes doing stuff, but it was still a lot. We like to take time to recover, but we couldn't not talk about how great the event went. Because people had so many awesome things to say. So Scott's got a couple of them here.
Yeah, just a couple of things that people were saying about it. One was it was very enlightening having to process everything.
Enlightening. It wasn't lightning. I thought you said lightning.
Enlightening. Really got me thinking about the equipment numbers, because that was like one of the biggest shockers when people saw how much
like we tell people that you're going to be shocked by how much your equipment costs, but I think they don't even, like, we are not fooling around. And so then when they actually do see it, they're like, oh, you're right. We're like, yes, we tried to tell you. But some things you just don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't just know it till you see it. So.
Yep. This one said, I loved how it was a small group of people, all for the same goal, asking some great questions.
Yeah, we capped it. We put a cap on how many people were in. Well, I'll talk about this later, but it being a smaller group is one of the best parts of it.
Yeah, it allows you to ask questions and have time to get them answered. This person also said they love the plug and play aspect of the spreadsheets. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through the list here, what people said real quick.
Yes, because everything that we have in the academy is plug and play spreadsheets. You just plug it in. And if you purchase the course separately, if you don't join the academy, we mentioned you can purchase this course as a standalone item. You can purchase it separately. You get all of that. You still get everything. It doesn't matter how you go about getting it. If you get it as its own course or in the academy, it doesn't matter. Everyone gets the same information.
Yep. This one said, I liked how you responded to comments in a timely fashion.
Well, that goes back to, we do this in small groups so you can ask questions on the fly.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Great work. Love how you elevated the industry.
Well, a lot of it is just, I think people don't know what they don't know. So that is I like that comment, because I really never thought about it as elevating the industry, but it's really what we're doing is by trying to just educate people. And I'm not saying they're uneducated. It's you don't know what you don't know. So we're really trying to spread the word to get that out there. So, because we want everybody to elevate their game and elevate their business. We want everybody to be doing better for themselves. And like we said, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, and this one is the last one. We'll say, says, love you both. I think I might not be able to give up at this point. So it sounds like they're ready to give up on their business until they started seeing the numbers and going through it.
And I don't want anybody to give up without giving it a real good old try, because there is help. You can do it. We have helped more than one person dig themselves out of huge holes. It is my request that you don't wait until your business is going under and you're paying for things out of your own pocket to come to us for help. Unfortunately, that happens all too often, because everyone's like, oh, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. It's like, well, can you afford not to? Because your other option is going under or paying out of your own pocket. I'm not trying to be nasty or sound snotty about it. That's just the reality of life. If you're not going to invest in yourself, then what do you think is going to happen?
Well, the bad thing is a lot of people wait to that point to like.
It is.
And then I need to do something now. I mean, even look at us. That's what we kind of did. We're we're taking stuff out of our pocket, but we're on a downward trajectory when we called in a
we were kind of operating at break even is how I would put it. So we weren't necessarily in a hole, but we weren't necessly doing great.
But it took us
a number of years.
But it took us to that point, like, we need to do something. And that's what many people do. I get it, but
this is why we're out here educating, and I don't even know that podcast existed when we did all this. We're very old. It was a long time ago. And so one of the things that I like to say now is, like, there's no reason to not have the information now. Information is so much more available. There wasn't courses online when we did all of this. Like, all this newfangled technology has it's made things a lot easier. So the information is out there. It's more readily accessible than ever. We did this event live, but it was online. So you didn't have to have money for airfare and a hotel and to take the time away, find somebody to watch your kids and feed your fish. That wasn't, those were costs you don't have to incur because we can do this online. So
Well, and the other thing, like, there are other industry professionals out there that are doing courses very similar to what we're doing, and they cost thousands of dollars, and you're not walking away with all the calculators. We're giving you all those calculators inside our academy, so it's a great deal. The whole point of it, what we're doing, is to make it affordable for you, so you can start learning numbers and start growing a business. That's just something we just want to do because we gain so much knowledge for so many people out there. So let's give a little bit back to everybody.
yes, we're trying to get the information out to the masses. So, all right. So, so that's why these people had all these wonderful, awesome things to say. It's because everybody was getting so much value out of it. The biggest takeaway for me was the people that attended were amazing. The course attendees are what made it as awesome as it was, because everybody showed up ready to learn. They were asking awesome questions. We had people in there that literally signed up Saturday morning for the course right before it started. We had everything from that to people who've been in our academy for months. But everybody was
Years,
asking.
actually.
Oh, did we
Years,
have
yeah.
some? Okay, we have some. Yeah, sorry. We did have some people that had been in there for years. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So, but my point is, it was everybody from people who had literally just started with us to people who'd been with us apparently for years. And everybody was asking questions and supporting each other. We don't tend to attract a nasty crowd because I think a lot of people don't want to ask questions because they are afraid of the trolly, snarky, icky comments.
Yep.
That is, like, knock on wood, thus far, that is not the kind of a crowd that we attract. Every event that we put on and whenever we do trainings, everyone is super nice, super helpful, very respectful.
Nobody's judging anybody, so no matter what has happened in the past, we're going to forget about it. We're just going to look at what we can do now and move forward. And I think I even had a quote in there. I know I had a quote in there talking about that. So it's just something that I feel is very important, and we don't want to judge anybody. We don't care what you've done. Let's just figure out what we can do from this point forward and get you on the right track.
Right. So when you attend these kind of events that we put on, whether it's a one-off event like this one or if you join the academy, think of it this way. If you have a question, if you're thinking it, somebody else probably is too, but they're not being bold enough to ask it. But you can ask it because even our members that had been with us for a while, they were just offering nothing but supportive answers and helping everybody out. We don't have a trolley crowd, so just FYI. So I thought that was really one of the most amazing parts of it. And the second part was that we capped it and we didn't have too big of a crowd because we weren't sure. This was our first time doing this live this way. We do stuff live in the academy, but this was our first time offering this as a one-off, separate, like 2-day event.
Yeah.
And we were thinking we might have to save the questions till the end of the day every day. But it worked out having it capped at a shorter group. I think the word is smaller, Katie, get your words together. A smaller group, they were able to ask them on the fly. And I think that gave people a lot of value because if you have to wait until the end, you forget what your question was and how it tied to whatever you were doing.
Yeah, and I know I'm sure you've been in webinars and courses and stuff that did that, waited till the end, or they'll hold them to the end. By then, my mind's already moved on and forgot about what my question was. So, it was nice to kind of do that, and it just happened to work out that way. And I tried my best to keep up with everybody's questions. I think we did a pretty good job on that.
It went great. Well, because these were working sessions. Like we said, spreadsheets are involved. So we had the spreadsheets pulled up and we were going through them in real time. And so that's what made it nice for people is to ask questions in real time because they were doing it with us. So it just worked out. So what was your biggest takeaway from the weekend?
My biggest takeaway was just the fact that how many people were actually surprised how much their equipment was costing them. They never realized what it really cost in fuel or what it really cost for maintenance. And when they started putting all the numbers into our calculators and it spits out how much it's costing you per year, actually one member of the academy emailed me the morning before because they did the homework the night before, they did the equipment stuff. They emailed me before the webinar questioning, thought there was an error in our calculators.
Spreadsheet. Yeah.
So I hopped in instantly just to check and
Of course, because we're like, oh no, we can't. Hopefully, we don't have this going out with an error in it.
And I've been using these for a while, so maybe something.
Who knows?
Sometimes people make a mistake in the formula, whatever it was. So I hopped in there and checked it out, and no, there is not a mistake in there. It's just this is the truth. This is the math, and that's the nice thing when you go through any of our calculators. This is the truth. This is math.
Numbers don't lie.
Yeah, math doesn't lie. It is what it is, and when people start seeing that, they're like, holy cow, I need to be charging for this. I need to be charging for that. People weren't charging for equipment, or we're not charging enough. And this is like a common mistake we do see. But
would you say the most common is not charging for it? Or okay, so number one, you have to charge for equipment. So if you are not, please put that in your estimates.
Yeah.
Number two, not charging enough, because what are the things that they're not thinking about?
Well, they're not thinking of all the maintenance and fuel. And everybody I understand is crazy thinking about how much fuel is and inflation.
Well,
and all this
everybody's
stuff.
getting a little panicky.
And
They're like, fuel prices are going up. It's making everybody sweaty.
Absolutely. But with the system we have, you can easily go in and adjust for that very quickly. And it's going to tell you how much the fuel is going to cost you. I mean, we're going through and just giving some examples, and it was costing like $7,000 a year for a truck. And they're like, holy cow, when you actually see that number, and it's very eye-opening.
Well, think about how many trucks you have. How many vehicles do you have? So if you're not recuperating your costs for fuel, if one truck is 7, if you've got, 2, 3 trucks, that's, you're getting into, $20,000-$30,000 worth of fuel every year that you're not accounting for. And then you're wondering why you don't have any money in the bank. It's because these are the things that you're leaving out of your estimates.
Yep.
So if you don't have a process for putting that into your estimates, like we said earlier, this numbers course is available. I can't talk today. I think I'm tired from the weekend. This numbers course is available for purchase on our okay.
Well, we should.
Maybe I should be taking it out. It is available for purchase on our website. I'm getting all worked up because I don't want anybody missing out on $30,000 worth of money just because you're not putting it in your estimate when we can show you literally how to do it with like a few clicks of the keyboard.
Yeah. The other mistake that we did see, some people were thinking of putting their equipment all in their overhead. And explaining to them that if you do that and you offer multiple different services, you're shorting yourself because, not shorting yourself. You're charging like your snowplow customers for your landscape equipment. You're charging your snowplow customers for your landscaping, or vice versa. Did I mix those up there? But you're charging vice versa. You're charging the customers that aren't using that equipment for that equipment.
Yes.
So.
Oh, and our dog's running in the camera some more. So, but if that doesn't make sense, just get into the numbers course. If you're like, how am I charging my other clients for my equipment?
We
go over all of that. It gets to be a lot to explain in a podcast, but just trust us when we say that you need to be piecing out your equipment separately, and then you have a cost, like this is what it costs to run this truck per day, stuff like that. So
the other takeaway that I got, it was just kind of a more of a personal takeaway. I loved when people were talking and chatting and things and getting involved and asking questions and just saying like things like, oh, it's shocking to see this. It just makes me feel good because we're educating people and letting them.
Well, the more feedback we get from people, the easier it is for us to answer questions and know what you have questions around.
Yep.
And when we see people respond with, oh my gosh, holy cow, I didn't know this. Well, then that clicks in our head. Okay, now we know we need to make more content around this because that is something that people don't know.
Yeah.
So we're not completely doing it selfishly to make ourselves feel good. But we do enjoy like getting the information out there.
Well, we always, or like every day afterwards, we were just like pumped up, you and I, because we were so excited to see what people were saying and how they're benefiting from it. So it was just it's an awesome, rewarding feeling to be able to teach somebody and let them see what they're getting out of it.
Yeah, we're here to change the industry, so none of this has to be secrets anymore. No. Well, I don't even know if it was secrets. It's just the information wasn't out there. But like I said earlier, now that the internet and the podcasts are here, why not broadcast it everywhere for everybody to know?
Oh,
there's no gatekeeping, so.
Absolutely.
So I think that is pretty much it. It was just really, we're going strong with, I mean, people are really still just surprised about numbers, even though I feel like we talk about it all the time. Maybe you don't know till you don't know. So get into that numbers course so you can see exactly what we're talking about, because this might be something that you thought you had your head around, but you don't as much as you thought. And so, no, like I said, it is available for purchase starting November 7th. And then as kind of a follow-up to that, we're going to be doing the job costing course. That one is for Academy members only. That one's November 16th. Because once you get your estimating on point, like we did over the weekend, then now it is time to make sure you're going back and looking at your jobs to make sure that everything is
Well,
good.
you're estimating properly. It's the checks and balances of your estimating system.
Because you might have to fine tune it, I guess is why I was kind of tripping on words for a minute. It was because just because you did it once, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have to fine tune.
Correct. And this is something that I told people in the course, is that like your first landscape job, whatever hardscaping, water features, mowing, whatever it did, the first time you did it, it probably wasn't the best. It's probably not your best work, I'm going to guess.
You probably did okay, but
Yeah.
there was room for improvement. And
Yeah,
this is going to
absolutely.
be this is the do it dirty we talk about. Just get it done that first time, but use the job costing to fine tune.
Yep. And like the biggest thing with the estimating systems, and I don't care which estimating system you use, is understanding and controlling your labor cost. That's our biggest risk in this industry, as well as overhead and labor. You can control those, you can manage your business. But you have to be able to estimate how much time and be able to control that to make sure your teams are doing it in that amount of time. That's the biggest thing that you'll have to gain and learn from this.
Well, because we taught people in the training how to estimate using production hours. That's this time that Scott is referring to. And if you're using production hours, then you have to go back and look at your estimates to make sure that you stayed within the estimated amount of production hours. Because there are a lot of things that could have happened. Either you estimated wrong because you just didn't have a good sense of how much time it was going to take, or an act of God happened and oh my gosh, this took longer than we thought because there was a mudslide. I don't know. Who knows? A hurricane. Any number of things could happen. So you just have to go back and look at it, because sometimes there is something that you can do about it. You probably can't do anything about hurricanes, but if you over or underestimated, then that's on you, because you don't want to continually overestimate all the time, because then you might be pricing yourself out of work. So you want to just get that fine tuned. And that's where the job costing comes in. It's like it's the follow up. It's the fine tuning for the estimating.
The other thing that I'll just throw in here, the last thing, is people are gaining confidence when they're going through this and understanding what their bottom dollar what the bottom dollar was. And it comes out when you go do your estimates with the customer. When you can tell the customer this price, final price, whatever it is for the project, and they're like, oh,
well, because we give you the estimating spreadsheets, it tells you your break-even point for that individual job. It will tell you have to charge $5,200 for this job. That's just to break even. So if you charge anything less, that you're going to be losing out on money. So when people are like, oh, is that the best you can do? You're like, I can't do this for any cheaper. Because even because it gives you that break even price, but then it also gives you what you need to charge to make a profit. So then it'll give you a price, like if you want to make whatever net profit, it'll tell you what that price is. But then you can make informed decisions. Because say you really want this job because it's going to maybe lead to other work. Maybe you could bump your net profit down by a percentage or two and still get the job, but you still make money. But then that's a confident, informed decision instead of you just guessing and hoping that it works out.
Yeah, and the other thing too is when you are going confident with your number, you're not having to stress out and think about, did I estimate enough of this? Did I estimate enough of this? Because you've gone through this process and everything's in there, all your materials in there, you have your labor in there covering everything. You could focus on the actual selling process. You're not having to worry about the price now. Now we worry about getting the customer to sign the bottom dollar.
And if somebody says no, you don't stress about it. You're not like, oh man, I wish I could have got that. No, it's like, I couldn't have done that for any cheaper for what I need for my business. And then you just move on to the next one. There's none of that hem hog guilt. Oh, could I, would have, should have, blah, blah. No, forget it. Move on.
The other thing too that somebody pointed out was Anya. She mentioned that she's been doing this for a while. She's been doing this about a season or so. I think she started with us in the springtime roughly, or whatever it was.
Okay.
And she's actually now able to understand the pricing a lot better, understanding like how much things cost for components. So it's in her head now. When she was doing estimating before, she was just kind of guessing on things, and now she knows, she understands everything that's got to go into it. It gives you a better thought process of going through your estimates, so you're not forgetting things. Everything's listed out in there, so she knows down to the penny what things are going to cost or how much to charge for it. So it's just
That's
it
an
was nice
awesome point about just it changes your thought process as an owner, or if you have an estimator that does it, it just gives you really a better grasp.
Yep.
So good point. Good point. All right, I think that's all the notes I had. I guess, well, if people wanted to know real quick, how, for this numbers course, kind of how it's laid out, I can go over that really quick.
Sure.
The course, the schedule, like I said, we did it in 2 days, and the first day was learning about the true cost of your employees, talking about labor burden and all that kind of stuff. Then we moved on to those ever shocking equipment costs. And then we had some lunch. And then when we came back from lunch, we talked about overhead and overhead recovery systems, because this all lays the groundwork for estimating. Because when people say you have to know your numbers, this is what we're talking about. These are the numbers you need to know before you put together an estimate in order to estimate. So I just want to make sure people realize that there is some pre-work. You don't just like jump into like, oh, I'm going to throw together this awesome estimate. There are some numbers that you have to learn beforehand, and these are those.
Yep.
So that was a big fat meaty day of learning. It went really great. But then that set us up for Sunday, where Sunday we came in, we just kind of answered if anybody had any questions or anything that came up overnight while they were working on stuff. And then we were able to hop right into the different estimating systems that we have. And we were able to show everybody, like, we've got some for landscaping, ones for mowing. Did you do an irrigation one? I can't remember.
We pulled up the irrigation one.
That's what I thought.
But we gave them some tips along the way for estimating how to use the system better, how to, just use how to estimate in general, some just general tips on that. So that's all in there. So if you get these recordings, that will all be in there. Yep.
And all the questions that everybody asked live, that's all in there as well. So you'll be hearing other people's questions and getting those answered. So there might be something that you didn't think of. You're like, oh, but that was a good question. No worries. All the questions are in there as well.
Yep.
So that's kind of the schedule and why we broke it into those 2 days. It's because I think people just don't realize all the beforehand work that goes into it before you can go ahead and spit that estimate out. But once you do that, you're good to go.
Yep.
So that's not something you have to do all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of like a set it and forget it type of deal.
Not forget it.
But you
set
have
it
to
and revisit it occasionally. But you don't have to do that every single stinking time.
The only time you have to go is if anything changes, price change, you give somebody raises, anything like that. And that's with any system. I don't care if you use ours or software. That's with anything.
Right. There's nothing that's like you can just do it once and forget about it forever. That's not real.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you're interested in that numbers course, go to milliondollarlandscaper.com. Starting November 7th, that will be available for purchase outside of the academy if you don't want to join. But if you do want to get in on the academy, where we because like academy members had access to this 2-day course for free already. Like if you're an academy member, you already have access when we do events like this, absolutely free. And inside the academy, we're going to be doing that the follow-up with the job costing on November 16th. But you have to be an academy member for that. So if you want to learn how to take the information, once you do your estimating and all that, okay, now what do I do? The next step, job costing. We'll be talking about that.
In the wintertime, or I should say wintertime, for some of you don't have to deal with winters, but in the slower season of the wintertime, we do have, like Kitty said, monthly courses. We've always done stuff. We've had them call different things. But we are kind of taking deeper dives into stuff. Just to give you an idea of some of the stuff that we've done in the past, we've had a website professional come in and do website reviews. So if you're questioning stuff on your website, they come in, they'll review it, and give you some pointers to help how to improve it. We've had stuff on marketing, so we've had our friend Laura Reale hop in and Landscape Marketing Secrets, and she's hopped in and shared stuff and giving us all kinds of great information about marketing. So lots of great stuff. We've done stuff that's in the academy, like we said, job costing, employee handbooks, employees, all kinds of employee issues. So
I think in 2023 we'll start. So we've been hammering numbers pretty hard here lately. Maybe we'll start hammering down on some employee stuff in 23. Not that it's not in there. It's always available. It just depends on what stuff that we kind of let the academy dictate a little bit, like. What we're doing, if we realize people are asking a lot of questions around this, we're like, oh, okay, well, we'll pull out that piece of content and that's what we'll talk about. So, but this winter, like Scott said, we amp it up a lot, just to make sure that everyone's getting all the information they need to get themselves set up for the next season. So, all right, you ready for some questions?
Let's do it.
Scott, would you rather have a shoulder massage or a foot massage?
Shoulder. Not a big foot person.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's kind of gross. If you could sing a duet with anyone, who would it be?
I can sing with somebody.
I picked
Well,
this
I don't
question on
think I-
purpose,
I don't know
on
some-
purpose,
I
because
wouldn't sing,
I don't know that
but-
I've ever heard you sing a note out of your mouth.
Maybe happy birthday with somebody.
Oh.
That's about it.
So that's what.
I don't know who I'd sing with though.
What singers do you like? It's probably somebody horrible that I don't like. Well, horrible in my mind. But Scott and I, here's a little bit behind the scenes. We have to listen to country music in the car all the time because that's the only thing that we can agree on, because he listens to like death metal that scares me and makes me want to
It's
cry.
not death metal. It's nowhere near death metal.
Okay, well, whatever it is, it's scary and it's loud. I prefer my music a little more sunshine, rainbows, and like gumdrops. And so, but we both like country music. So in the car, we always listen to country music because that's what we don't fight about. So anyway, go ahead.
I don't really know. I can't even think. I mean, I'm a big fan of Chris Stapleton. But
Well, there you go. You and Chris singing happy birthday.
Yeah.
Done and done. I'll be looking forward to that for my birthday.
Okay. I'll reach out to him.
I'm sure you'll hop right on that. What are you most excited about right now?
I'm most excited about all the changes and updates we're doing inside the Academy. We've been going through redoing a lot of videos and updating spreadsheets and stuff just to make it easier. So it's a lot of work.
Some of our older videos were so cringy,
Oh,
and
they're
I crack up, and I can barely watch them. They're so funny. But
it's terrible.
but we were doing the best we could with the knowledge that we had at the time, and it just goes to show, no matter where you're at in your business, you're always going to look back and be like, ooh, that was cringy.
Yeah.
So that's okay. Just do it. Do
Yeah.
it. We were doing it dirty then, even though we didn't have a name for it. And we're still doing the same thing now. We're going to look back on the stuff we're doing now and be like, oh, man, we could have done that better. And just as a side note, we're upping the community portion of our academy as well. We have a separate app where we're having our community, where we're going to be diving more into like coaching questions and just kind of like lifestyle and how to just how to survive this entrepreneurship lifestyle.
So
So
work-life balance and family balances and stuff like that.
balancing the best you can. I don't always believe that you can do it perfectly, but I think everybody's got room for improvement.
Yeah.
So we can all be doing a little bit better.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing I'm excited about, is just making all the updates in there. We have a big plan for the free academy too. So if you're in the free academy, we got a big plans for doing that this
I
winter.
know we
A
have
lot
so
of
many
stuff.
plans. We have more plans than we have time, but that's
That's-
okay. We're doing it. We're going to get it done.
Yep. So no, but if you're interested in any of this stuff, definitely go check out the academy.
Yeah.
Lots of great stuff in there. Lots of resources in there. Lots of great community members in there. That's the best part about, I think, is talking on these group coaching calls we do weekly. The monthly live Q&A is just talking to all the other people and sharing information. Like, people will help each other out. I love seeing that when other members are helping each other out. So
Well, and even if you're one of those people that's a little shy, a little bit lurky, I'm kind of a lurker until I get comfortable. It's totally fine. You can hop in on the group coaching calls and not participate. If you're a lurker, you're a lurker. It's it's whatever. No judgment. It's fine.
Yeah.
I have done that in groups that I'm in. I've been like, I don't have any questions right now. I'm just here for the party. What's everybody doing? Totally fine. No judgment.
There's people that'll go in there, they'll have their mic off, they'll have their camera off, and that's fine.
Yeah, and maybe you're making dinner and you can't participate at the moment, but you just want to have it on. Absolutely fine. Go for it. So.
No, get in there today. It's well worth your time and energy. So.
Yep, and don't forget to check out the numbers course, available November 7th, $1,000,000landscaper.com. It was a great weekend. Can't wait to share it with everybody.
Yep. All right, gang. Well, thanks for joining us, and have a great day.